All right. Well, welcome to the call, everybody. It's so good to see your faces on here. And for those watching the replay, thank you so much. My name is Allison, and I'm a Pro 6 with LifeVantage. And tonight I just thought I'd do a little bit of training, a little bit on the business, and then go over a couple of things that just really got my fire lit when I first joined LifeVantage in terms of the product and some of the science. And I just pulled up some stuff from the archives that I rewatched, and I'm like, wow, I don't know if a lot of my team has seen this stuff, or if they have, it's probably been years. And so I'm excited to share that with you tonight. Let me go ahead and just share my screen though, and just kind of go over a few quick announcements before we get started. All right. 1 second. Okay. First of all, I just want to give a huge congratulations to these four wonderful ladies on our team who got new customers over the last week. So congratulations, Carol Betts, Britta Larson, which we need to get her on this call. Jenny Field and Sunshine Diaz. You know, you guys, every week I feel like I'm just seeing these names repeating over and over, and it's just amazing to me because it means you're being consistent. You're doing the work that you know, really shows how you do this business and is what leads to success. So congratulations to all four of you. That's super exciting. And yeah, it lights a fire under me and all of us to just get out there and talk to more people. So awesome job. So this is it, you guys. This weekend is Elite Academy in Orlando. I'm super excited to be going, and I'm going with a few of you that actually are on this call tonight, but just so great to be in person, to be able to connect with the team and just really be there, to be with the corporate staff, to be with all the other teams around the country and some even internationally that are coming in. And, you know, it just, you learn so much at these events. You really get a feel for the direction of where things are going. It helps build your beliefs so much. And so if you're not going to be able to make it in person, I just encourage you guys to register virtually, because this really is your education. It's the college for how to do this business. You know, you're going to learn so much about the different products, the science, the business training, the personal development. And if you want to really do this as a business, these are the trainings that are so important to plug into. And if you do register virtually, I would encourage you to try and watch it when it's live, because I just know that sometimes, you know, even if you have a period of time to watch it, if you don't do it when it's happening, it's really sometimes hard to go back and do it. But they are giving you 30 days to watch it once you register. So just encourage you guys to do that. You know, we will be kind of texting back and forth, and it's really fun when you know, when we are at the event and some of our team is on virtually, that we can text back and forth and, you know, be able to still be connected even if we're not in person, just on like, whoa, you know, what did you think of this speaker and what they shared, and just be able to go back and forth. So it's just it's going to be a great event, and I'm excited to be there and to learn and see what's the company's rollout is going to be for this upcoming year. You know, it's a new year, and I'm sure they have a lot going on. So okay, so I'm going to get into a little bit of training tonight with business, because I know that when people first start LifeVantage, there's just so much to kind of like to learn when you first get started. And I know that some of us, when we have new enrollees, we kind of take some of the stuff for granted, like, because we've already learned it. We know, certain things. Sometimes we forget to sort of teach that. And so that's the purpose of these calls, is to really try to hit on some of the things that helped us and be able to answer maybe some of your questions. And so Alice talked a little bit about ITT last week, which is really the foundation and process for building this business. And so, I'm going to kind of go into a little bit of the invite tonight. And really that is the most important skill to learn when you first join is getting people in front of the information, because your job is not to make a sale. Okay. Your job is to be a connector and get the information in front of people. And so first of all, the thing that you have to have in the beginning is something called a database. So if you don't have a database, like literally either a notebook with names or, a spreadsheet on your computer, I encourage you to do that and just start dumping your brain of all these different people that in your life. Whether it's family, friends, people you went to school with, people you've worked with, people maybe in the service industry that your hair stylist or, your waitress at the restaurant, whatever it is, you want to create this database. And the thing I would recommend is just dumping as many names as you can. You can certainly go through your phone and your Facebook contacts and all of that. But just write them down. Don't think about whether or not this is for them or not, or the product, or whether or not you're even going to call them. Just the goal is to get as many names down on paper as you can. And one of the things that one of the pro nines in the company talked about was, when you're creating a database, a lot of it is just putting the names down, but he actually suggested putting a second column beside the name. And so he said, why would you want to invite this person? And he said, usually it's falls into one of three categories. Either that there's a health reason, either something they're struggling with or something that maybe a family member is struggling with. So you can put that in the column that there's either a health reason or maybe it's a business reason, somebody who really needs money, somebody who's always hustling, somebody who hates their job, someone who's entrepreneurial and is super successful in anything they do. And then you might want to write that down. And then the third category would be, you're not so sure why you thought of them. And that just probably means you need to reconnect or rekindle that relationship with that person. So I thought that was really good. It kind of separates out your warm market from your cold market so that, if you're not sure really what that person is about, you haven't talked to them in 10 years, obviously you don't want to be like inviting them to look at your products or business until you kind of reconnect with them. So the people that you're already connected to and close with, you may know exactly what's going on in their lives. And so then you can, at that point, reach out to them because their story and be able to invite them to take a look. So just thought if this is sort of the first step before inviting is obviously to have a list of names written down and why you're thinking of that person. And so the invite itself is really all you're trying to do is invite someone to look at a tool. This is the I part of the ITT. You are not there to share the information necessarily with them about the product yet. Okay, so you really want to keep this short and sweet of like, I thought of you because I know you're going through some stuff with your health and this might be something you want to take a look at. So always when you're inviting people, make it about them and sort of take yourself out of the equation. And, I know sometimes we get excited, especially when we first sign up and we know something's going on with this person and we're just dying to get them in front of the information. So we're just, I want you to see this. I want you to hear about this. I want, and it's all like, I want you. And instead it's just kind of changing that language a little bit of putting it back on, making it about them. Listen, you really need to see this. I know what you're going through. And this is something that I think could possibly help you. Or I thought about you because of, so kind of just changing that around of like, hey, I want you to, I want to give you this information. Well, people don't want information that they don't know how it applies to them. So I think, being able to invite, saying, this is why I thought of you, is a really great thing. Or even if it's, it's like compliment people, like, I know you are so business savvy and you're entrepreneurial, and this may be something that would intrigue you, may or may not be for you, but I'd love for you to check it out and then give me your feedback. And that's a lot of what Daisy does. And that's sort of that last, at the bottom there, she's always trying, inviting people to jump on a call to listen to an opportunity meeting. And she just said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 4? What are you doing tomorrow at 7? And if they say, well, nothing, why? Well, I'd love for you to jump on to this call and just listen to something that, I think that you would blow your mind or something like that. And she's like, it may or may not be for you. So you're sort of taking it away from them before you're, so it's not salesy, not coming across pushy or anything like that, but that you just value their opinion and would love to get their feedback. And again, kind of when people are, say you've invited them because, or you're extending an invite because you thought of them, and they say, well, what is it? Well, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole of trying to explain, well, what is it? Well, just, is it okay? Can I send you this short video to watch that will kind of give you a little bit of an overview, and then we can talk. Because the minute you start talking, you're going to go down that rabbit hole of trying to be the messenger, or being the message instead of the messenger. So you just want to ask them, hey, well, let me send you this quick video, or can I send you this quick video? And then we'll chat about it later. Try to be in a hurry. A lot of times, call while you're driving on your way to work or whatever. And that way, it's like, I don't have time to explain it all, but are you okay if I send you this quick video and then let me follow up with you later this afternoon? Because really the goal is the invite to the tool. You're not inviting for you to be the message. So you want to make sure to get a tool in front of someone before you start trying to explain it yourself. And be excited and be you and be authentic with your invites. Don't try to go off of a script. You want to talk like you normally talk. So these are just examples of just, again, making it about the other person and why you thought of them. And so I think that's really important, versus, cold calling and messaging people that you haven't talked to in forever. You want to rekindle that relationship and find out what's going on in their lives before you invite them. This is kind of, again, just a reiteration of what I said before of being the messenger and not the message. And Michelle Poe was saying, she says, and she goes, we don't call ourselves network marketers. We don't call ourselves, I don't know. But she says they call themselves professional connectors, which I thought was really cute, and really you're just inviting people to take a look. As I said, don't try to explain it. And there's a lot of, the one thing you do want to know what you're doing is in what you're inviting them to. So the ABC primetime video, you guys, is the really the cornerstone of how most everyone in this company has built their business to elite status. I still use the ABC primetime. I think that it's something that's just so validating for Protandem, for our company, because of it just stands the test of time. It's third-party news story, having nothing to do with the company, and it shows the results. And so I would still encourage you guys to use this when you're sharing it with people, even the business oriented people. If they can see, like, okay, this is something that changes people's health, they're going to automatically think, okay, this could be huge, from a business standpoint. And obviously if people are struggling with their health, they're going to be interested. So I still encourage you to use that ABC Primetime video, but you can also invite people to a pre-recorded Zoom call. The company does these weekly flip the switch opportunity presentations that you can invite to. You can invite to the Activating You Facebook group, the heart-to-heart calls, the Activate an Abundance call with Daisy, which all of these calls that are done through Team Global Aloha, you can just go to the website and it's all on the Google Calendar. So, the goal is just when you're talking to someone, don't try to start explaining it to, yourself right off the bat. And mainly because people in your life, especially if, I would say this is the hardest part for me, because being a veterinarian, I am very much into the science. And I think that if you have a background in the medical field and people know you as being an expert in that, it's probably okay to start to tell a little bit, of that story yourself, because they already see you as an expert. But it's for really people who maybe your friends and family know that you've never had any sort of medical experience or been in that world at all, and then all of a sudden you're trying to talk like a scientist. They're going to be like, what? So I think it's even more important that you kind of stay in your lane with how your friends and family know you, in terms of your expertise, and then that tool is then going to bridge that, so that you can then come back and explain later why it got you excited. But you want them to get that initial information from an expert, which could be, again, third-party validation, a three-way call, a video, things like that. So if you don't know the website for the ABC Primetime, this is the one I use. It's the biohackandactivate.com website. And it also has a lot of other really good videos attached to it, along with the PubMed and studies and everything. So people can go there, watch the ABC, and then they can actually peruse more videos to hear from other doctors and things like that. So it's just a good reference there. So, okay, now I'm getting into, I just want to get into a little bit more in depth about Protandim NRF2, because this is truly what most of the people in this company are here for. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched Dr. Joe McCord. He is the scientist who developed Protandim. He was with LifeVantage in the beginning, and he's moved on to continue with his medical research. And, he's just a brilliant man. He discovered the superoxide dismutase enzyme when he was at Duke University in the 60s. He's kind of known as the father of free radical biology. So this was actually from a video lecture, and I'll post that link. It's on YouTube. I would encourage you guys to watch him just speak about this, because every time it just blows my mind. But these were just some of the slides that he showed in his presentation. And this was, probably back in the mid 2000s, like maybe 2012 or something like that. So it's been a while. But all of this is still so key. And we've come even, farther since he did this lecture. But he was just explaining at a LifeVantage Elite Academy, really what is Protandim, because people were still learning about it and learning about NRF2 activation and what this is. So he was going into all the steps about Protandim being a NRF2 activator, which really is this biochemical wake-up call. And it protects against oxidative stress, inflammation, fibrosis, carcinogenesis, i.e. cancer, and other stressful conditions. And by regulating the gene expression, it's essentially going to, affect all these different areas of health that are so key, these categories. And so one of the things that he does is he's really good at using analogies. And I've tried to explain this to people throughout the years of how protandim is really kind of like tuning your body, like you tune a piano. And this was the lecture where I learned that. And it just made so much sense to me. Tuning, and the definition obviously is to adjust the musical pitch or cause to be in tune, to bring into harmony or precise functioning, to make more precise and or intense or effective. And so essentially every key on a piano is assigned a specific optimal frequency. So every single key is going to give you this different frequency where you're seeing kind of the green go up like this. And so when grandma bought a brand new piano back in 1947, all of the keys on the piano were perfectly tuned to just go in this beautiful little, incline here. But what happens after 50 years of this piano being at grandma's is now everything's out of tune. So you have all these different keys that are not playing on the right frequency. And so your music is not going to sound as good. Okay. Well, this is very similar as to what happens in our bodies, because our genes all are basically expressed at a certain frequency, a certain level to have optimal function. And one of the things that they discovered with protandim is that actually protandim affects about 3,000 genes in our body. Out of the 25,000, McCord said protandim can modulate about 3,000 genes. So they just took part of that 3,000 and kind of put it down to this little red box here of 400. And, they wanted to look at exactly what genes were affected or modulated by protandim. And it's just such a grand scale of, data that they can only work with so many genes. So this was brand new when they were looking at it. And so they narrowed it down to about 60 genes that they wanted to identify that protandim modulated. And so they had these tissue cultures from humans, and they treated all of these cells with protandim, and they saw that protandim modulated all of these genes in a very specific way. And you can see this beautiful sort of, even incline here. And so what they did was they compared that to a group of the same cells that were from humans that were not treated with protandim. So they put them in like this solution with protandim, and then they had the same cells without protandim, and they looked to see how these different genes were affected. And what they saw was that all these cells that were treated with protandim in the green were just very smooth, even, almost like that piano going across. Well, the cells that were not treated with protandim, you can see in the red, some were lower than those with protandim and some were higher. So you see all these different spikes, and lower, higher, lower, higher. So obviously this out of tune piano on these cells without protandim. And one of the, a lot of these genes, they still don't exactly know what they are associated with, what they do, why they're important. But one of the ones that they did know about was this one here with the arrow. And this particular gene is associated with fibrosis in the body. And so if this gene is overexpressed, you tend to get a lot of scar tissue formation in the body. So things that could cause heart disease or lung disease, or things that would cause, organ failure. And so what they saw is that with those cells treated with protandim, that level was brought down to here. Without protandim, it was way up here. So there was a clear difference within this particular gene that they knew protandim was helping to suppress, which thereby reducing the risk of those serious disease issues. And so what happened is there's a company called Ingenuity that studies different genes. And so because, they did not know what all these other genes were about, they started submitting this information and research to this company to say, hey, can you identify these genes and tell us what they are associated with? Are these things that need, are good, or are they genes that are bad for the body? And so they found with working with this company is that there are a lot of genes that are, when overexpressed, are causing disease. So they found 19 genes specifically that are associated with I can never say that. Basically, thickening of the blood vessels that cause heart attacks, right? And it causes clots and things like that. So all these different genes over here on this left column, when they are overexpressed, can lead to heart disease and other diseases associated with this thickening of the blood vessels. And so you see, typically with this, you're going to have all these genes upregulated. And so that's a bad thing. We don't want that. So what they found was with Protandim, that in all of these genes, Protandim lowered this gene expression, which thereby reducing the chances of that thickening of the blood vessels. And down here, McCord explains that the ones that are deficient with the disease, Protandim upregulated. So again, tuning that piano, things that are doing harm to the body, that are overexpressed, Protandim is lowering. Things that are deficient in the body, Protandim is increasing. And it's just amazing to me that how this works to really tune your body. So this is just with one disease process. They looked at actually 3 in this particular lecture he talked about. The other one was with colon cancer. All of these genes here are highly associated with colon cancer. And you can see that in this disease process, all of these enzymes here and genes are upregulated. And with Protandim, look at what happens. All of them get downregulated. So, I mean, this is such a huge deal when you're talking to people about, they're asking questions like, well, if we know the science between, the things that are creating havoc in the body, and look at what putting this natural product in your body does, it's affecting these genes. And one thing I want to go back to real quick, which is super cool, back with the atherosclerosis, you can see these bold, the genes that are in bold over here. All of the bold means that essentially the pharmaceutical companies have developed drugs to target these specific genes in the hope to reduce clinical signs or help these patients. And so a lot of these drugs that are out there with the pharmaceutical companies are enzyme inhibitors. And so all these things in bold over here are essentially drugs that are on the market to decrease all of these enzymes that are upregulated here. And so the asterisk is basically saying that Protandim does what these drugs do. And so again, connect the dots. We can't make the disease claims, but it's pretty clear when you start to look at this data. So then the last thing they looked at in this particular lecture was Alzheimer's disease, because, this is something totally different from heart disease and colon cancer. This is a neurologic disease. It's poorly understood for a long time, but this company has identified numerous genes that are associated with Alzheimer's. And again, most of them are upregulated. They tend to increase with age. And so again, if we can decrease this gene expression, which, as you see on the left, there are drugs that are already targeting this, then potentially you can help Alzheimer's patients. And so they looked at these same genes treated with Protandim, and every single one of them were lowered. So it's just to me super exciting to be able to see this kind of stuff. Where you can show people, like, we're not just saying it, they're actually doing the genetic research with this. And one of the ones, the last one on the in this column is superoxide dismutase. It's showing you that it upregulates it. So this whole bottom part of the column here these are antioxidant enzymes, which actually are, the body is trying to compensate by increasing these because of the amount of oxidative stress that's going on. And Protandim just really helps that process by increasing it more. So anyway, I just thought those were great slides. Just wanted to show you guys, and just got me all excited again. I'm going to actually put the if I can get the chat up, the link to Dr. McCord's YouTube video. You guys should really check that out. Share it with people, because the way he explains it is just so simple, probably a whole lot better than the way I just explained it. But again, one of the things that got me super passionate about this company and the product and sharing it with people. So with that, anybody have anything, Sunshine? I know we talked earlier. I don't know. You've been on fire, girl. Do you want to share a little bit about, just real quick, kind of the connections and stuff you've been making and how you've been reaching out to people and everything?
Yeah, I feel like I've had a lot of hard times with the computer stuff, phone. Anyway, I'm here. Hello.
We're glad you're here.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that. And I, being in the music industry with my husband, I'm like, I got to show this to some musician people, because he'll be like, it'll just ring all kinds of bells for them. So that was cool. Thanks. I remember watching that from, years ago. Yeah. I've been having so much fun because I feel like I'm just connecting with so many people I haven't talked to in years. Just recently I called somebody and anyway, just we were just talking and sharing, and of course I shared my story with him, and he's telling me what he's going through, and it's just like, oh, like it just seems like these things just continue to, like, if it shows up then great, look into this NRF2, see what this can do, and give them tools, get them on Activating You on Facebook, or and different doctors or different friends. I think that it's really great that there's so many people where there's presentations for so many things. I want to keep getting that more organized, and just, finding out more different doctors that are talking about all different kinds. So there's just so much tools to be giving people. And but for me, it's so much about having the at least voice to voice. I think face to face is even better, but being able to talk and share and hear the passion. And I know, I've had many people over the years, and then many of them have dropped off. And the thing is that I have so much passion that I know what this is. It's going to continue to explode all over the place for so many people. And I think right now, a lot of people are just like, yeah, I need some other alternatives besides pharmaceuticals, like you're saying. And I think for me, I get so excited because I'm kind of like you, doctor type people with bats or whatever, like just being able to see visuals, I think is so powerful for me. But it's like you have to just kind of see where you can send them in different ways. I've been using the daily success plan from Deb. And so anyway, it's so nice to have something like every day for me, just like starting anew and then going back and finding people I've circled and bring them over here and follow up. And so that's a lot what I've been doing. What else am I going to say? I like this morning on our talk with Deb and talking about doing even because I didn't do this as much, but doing a board, a vision board for your finances. Is that something I mean, we all do, but just even zeroing more in on that. But I also, in the morning, for me, I get up, and if I'm not reading, I'm listening. So many things. And a lot of times I start with my, my spiritual side, I guess. and do some reading or listening, and then I'd move my body, something with yoga and breathing. And then I've been listening, not always to Deb, but she's amazing. I love listening to her, but somewhere in there, just something positive, and just knowing that, you know, I'm in the right time, the right place, and the right people. And, you know, just realizing if you just can start relaxing into it and not being like, I gotta find this person, you gotta say yes, you know, it's like, oh, you're not ready, it's all good. Look, we're gonna talk soon. And you just have more people, you just keep talking, which is wonderful. I just love it,
Yeah.
because I think about my mom growing up, and what she did is she wore her little headset, was her phone. It was like around anyway. And that was a lot what she did, was just connecting with people. And that's just what this is connecting with people. And, you know, you might have the message for them, but it might be in a little bit of time, or just being open, staying
Yeah.
open. And that was the last thing. It's like one of the memories of a dream that my sister had, is seeing my mom after she died. And she had this book, and everybody came around like, what is she reading? And all these people from the community. And it says, open. It's just being open.
Wow.
So it's just like, we just be open to whatever we're being presented with, and just deciding, you know, how to go forward. So
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I love that. I haven't heard
yeah.
that from you. That's really, I love, and I see so much like growth in you, Sunshine, in just having that attitude and that mindset of like, it's not about chasing and hunting down. It is about, because it's all about timing for people. And we have to be okay with, I mean, we can't control other people. All we can do is just put it out there, you know, and even the people that drop off, I found through the years, they end up coming back, you know, and again, following up with those people periodically, not necessarily about LifeVantage, but just keeping in contact with them. And you'll find out that they have this and that, and be like, oh, you know, you used to be on Pro Tandem, and, you know, maybe that would help. Oh yeah, I should probably try that again, you know. It's just sometimes people just, their credit cards like expire, and they don't go and fix it, and then they just sort of forget about it. So it's not always like them making a conscious decision that they want to stop. It just, life gets crazy, and sometimes they just need a little reminder, or, you know, little touch or communication. So, but thank you for sharing. And I know we're a little over time, so I don't want to keep you guys, but anyway, thank you for humoring me. I hope my graphs and charts didn't, like, you know, get too much for you. But all right, you guys, well, hopefully we'll see you on the virtual Elite Academy or in person. And love you guys, and have a great night.
You. Love you guys.
Yeah. Okay, bye-bye.
Night.
Can't wait.